everybody, this is episode 17 of Tandem. I'm sure, as you can already tell, this sounds way different than what you're normally used to, and that's because Josh and I are in a car driving to New York City. And for this episode, I wanted to do something that was vastly different than what I'm used to doing, something really not clean, not in a controlled environment. I wanted to do something like on location and do a lot of ambient noises and stuff like that. And we were going on a scooter trip to New York, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do it. So I don't really have much of a plan, and I also don't really have much experience recording like just ambient sounds and on location audio. So I mean, this episode is really going to be an experiment. My ultimate goal is to meet up with Elmer Ferraris and interview him, but he's extremely hard to get in contact with. So if I do interview him, that'd be great. If I don't, I'll just interview all the other people who scooter in New York. But it should be good, and I'm looking forward to it. So here's the experiment. We're at a covering at a spot in Brooklyn because it's raining and Snail is here, and he has a story to tell. What is your real name?
James? Well, no, it's actually Mark. My real name is Mark. I go by James. The streets know me as Snail.
All right. What's the story?
So, last August, I was at the Chicago Street Jam. Everything was going according to plans, you know, hanging out with the homies, doing very minimal scootering, and I was getting a clip with Eric Olson, and I ended up having an asthma attack, but I just like pushed through it and like got the clip. But then that night when I was sleeping, everyone told me like I sounded like I was gonna die, and I was like, whoa, like really spooked. So then I just like sat at Richard's house and like tried to think of what happened, and then like as the day went on, it just like progressively got worse and worse, and I just like felt like I had the flu pretty much, but I guess I had an asthma attack, and then I like couldn't breathe at all. I was just like sitting in Richard's bed like feeling like death, and then I called my mom and she told me I had an asthma attack. I had no idea I could have ever done that. So then I went to the hospital, they gave me meds, and I was all good. Actually no, after that I had to like, I couldn't do anything. I just had to like sit inside and like look at Richard's street and be like, damn, I want to be back in New York.
And why did you not know that it was an asthma attack?
I had asthma when I was a little kid, but I like stayed active, and like I always scootered, and I didn't even like, I never felt like short of breath or anything, except for when I was getting that clip. So I had no idea what it was, and before then, the last time I had an asthma attack was 5 or 6 years before. So I just thought I didn't even have asthma anymore. I like stopped going to the doctor, stopped taking my inhalers and all that, but
And what video was that clip in? Did that video come out yet?
what was it called? The time frame video came out last summer.
Was your clip at night in it? Was that what it was?
No, it was I did like a salad on it was like a bank, like a narrow bank up to like a, I don't even know what it was. Kind of just like a giant box on like it was in Grant Park. Oh, I forget what it is.
Huh.
Yeah, I did like a salad like on this giant concrete block from this bank and like went back down into the bank. But I wanted to do another trick, but my lungs weren't feeling it. But actually, after I got back to New York, the Brooklyn Banks Jam was like the day after I flew home. And I went there, but I couldn't scooter at all. I just had to like sit and like just see everyone scootering and having fun and just be bummed. But your health is definitely really important, and gotta make sure you're good.
Yeah. Did you ever tell like Devin and Eric what actually happened when they kept telling you to try harder? Were they like kind of bummed when they realized like what was actually happening?
I don't know. They just like kept telling me to go for it, and I was like, oh, dude, like Shorty's telling me to keep going. Like that's Shorty. I gotta keep going. Like this fool's crazy. So I just kept going for it. But I was like, dude, I don't know. Like I feel so terrible. And then once I went to the hospital and we like found out it was a asthma attack. They were like, oh my God, like, they didn't even really like think of like, oh, we like kept pushing you. They were just like, dude, like that really sucks. Like, I hope you can like get better soon and all of that.
All right, we're at this spot in Brooklyn, and Sam Grove is trying a trick, and we're just we're just sitting here waiting for him to do it. So Eric Harkless has a story about breaking his leg.
Well.
Oh, you can hold it, I guess.
Oh! I didn't know I wasn't supposed to hold it, but well, it's Eric Harkless here, and this is the story when I broke my leg. So I think it was June 16th, 2014. Yeah, 2014. All right, so it was a nice day. It was great. We were all riding. I think it was me, Rick, and Deptula, Yara, Zach. Not really sure who else was there, but yeah. And so we just rode spots all day, and finally we were going to another spot. Before we got to the spot, Yara goes, okay, let's go eat at Wendy's. No one eats at Wendy's here but him. And so we're like, all right, whatever, Yara, let's go to Wendy's. So we're riding down, I think it was 125th. It's the Wendy's on 125th Street. And so we're going with traffic. We're in the street. We're going with traffic. And there's a truck. There was scaffolding up on the left side. That's where the Wendy's was. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to catch a sketch on this truck. I thought it was a block, like one more block down, because I couldn't see because of the scaffolding. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm going to catch a sketch on this truck. And the truck being there, I can't see what's coming this way. And they already crossed to go over there. I didn't notice. So I'm like, okay, let me get this sketch. And then Yara was like, yo, what you doing? It's over here. I'm like, oh. So I just go out to go to the side where they are. And the car just, pow. It felt like, I felt so light and it happened so quick. Like, I felt like I was flying.
So the car was coming towards you?
Coming toward me, yeah, okay, and I was going with traffic.
Yeah.
So, and then I laid there and I was like, I didn't want my leg to be broken. I didn't want anything to be broken. I was like, okay, I'm okay. There's no way. So I stand up. I guess it was adrenaline. I stood up and I'm like standing there and I just like don't feel my leg. So I'm like looking for a pothole to like see if my leg's in, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I just said it's broken and just laid back down on the floor, then waited until like ambulance or whatever came. They all I heard was like people, lay down, don't get up, like don't get up, it's gonna be worse. I'm pretty sure like when I stood up, I made it way worse than it was, because it was already broken. I'm pretty sure I like just made it like stab into my thing. So ended up in the hospital or whatever, and so that night my dad stayed with me, and so we're like in the room now. They said they're gonna prep me for surgery tomorrow. I'm gonna go in for surgery tomorrow, so I'm supposed to stay there the night, whatever. But gradually I started losing feeling in like my toes. Like, of course I thought that was supposed to be a thing, you know, you broke your leg, you're not gonna have complete feeling for nerves and stuff. So, and then I'm like, okay, I tell the doctor, and they're like, no, it's normal, you know, it happens. I'm like, okay. So, and then again, it gets worse. And then I'm like, I almost like can't at all move them. They're like, no, it's good. Tomorrow you'll go for surgery, don't worry. Then I just completely lost feeling. And I'm just like, I don't think this is supposed to happen. So I'm like, all right, then they looked at it, they took the like splint off, whatever they had on it, and they looked at it and it was like, oh, okay, we have to get him to surgery now. It was like, I had like compartment syndrome, where it like swells up so much that you have to cut it to release pressure. Like, that's the only way, or you'll lose your leg.
Cut what?
They have to cut. You see these two scars? Yeah.
Wow.
So they had to cut both sides open to release the pressure in it. And then they told my dad, like, if he didn't if we didn't take him to surgery, he would have lost his leg. Like, he wouldn't have made it to the morning. Like, my leg would have been lost.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went through like 3 surgeries during the time I was there, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's called a fasciotomy, is what they do, is when they cut it. And the way they closed it, there was 2 ways to like close up the huge incisions they had in my leg. Was either skin graft, when they take like skin from somewhere else on your body and put it over that. But they did it an easier way so it'll look more uniform and nice. It's called a shoelace closure. If you notice the little bumps, right, like a shoe, they literally put like a thing through it, and every day they would come and pull it tighter on both sides.
Did they just stretch your skin out?
No, they literally cut it. I don't know how. I don't even know how it works. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what they did. I was in the hospital for 56 days. 56 days.
Damn.
It sucked. I missed all my summer.
Yeah.
It was great.
And how was the rehab?
Rehab? Okay, so I had they sent me to this place, like this physical therapy place. Literally, they weren't doing anything for me. I wasn't even like, they literally just would put like the electro pad things on me, whatever, and leave me there for the whole session, and then say, okay, it's time to leave. And I'm like, what is this gonna do for my leg? So I just like started riding my scooter in my building,
really?
like just pushing, like not really hard, but you know, just like getting used to it. Then after a while, I just was like, okay, I'm not going to therapy anymore. I'm just doing this. Because they're literally getting paid for me to just sit there. So I'm like, whatever. So I started riding more and more. Then I started riding to the skate park. And I would be in the skate park and just like doing like little feebles on little ledges.
Yeah. Like
trying to get tailwinds back. And like after a while, I just like, that was the thing. I got back from scootering. Like
How long do you think that took?
Maybe about, for me to fully be back, like 2, 3, 4 months maybe. It wasn't that long. It was like surprisingly short.
Yeah, that doesn't seem that long.
Yeah.
And wow.
But yeah.
And so when the car hit you, did you like fly really far? Or?
I don't even know. I know I hit my head though.
Yeah.
I like hit my head on the windshield and like broke the windshield. I didn't even have a crack on my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandma was telling me I'm hard-headed.
And what happened to the driver? Like, was there any like legal?
Because it was my fault, I couldn't get money from it.
Oh yeah.
So, but they did pay they paid the hospital bill, which was like $400,000. Like the insurance paid that. So
Christ.
yeah, that would have been a lot of debt.
Damn, that's wild.
But yeah.
Huh.
But I can ride scooters now, so I'm good.
Yeah. Do you ever feel anything else after?
It's rare. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I feel something, but like it's after like a really long session, like going hard, you know, maybe getting a clip for a long time. But that's about it. I don't really feel much.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some people, like, when I, like, in the hospital, I did a little, like, physical therapy. And, like, there was people there that's been going, like, to, like, physical therapy because they broke their leg for, like, years. And they still have limps. And they, like, can't walk right. And, like, I can walk completely fine, thank God. But...
Well, it probably helped that... Like, how old are you? You were like younger, right?
I was 16.
Yeah, so like
4 years
I
ago,
mean, it would have been way more serious like later in life because you just don't recover from stuff as easy when you're like older.
Yeah, true.
Oh, I thought of something else. What about the story of the time you went over the train tracks?
The trick?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, okay. So that story.
That's I mean, I don't know if people even know about that, right? Not a lot of people.
Probably not a lot of people know. Whoever was at the premiere knows, but so
you're just pointing at your...
we were randomly it was me, Logan, Fuller, who else was there? Michael Holman and who else was there? Rick, Deptula again.
Yeah.
And so we're coming from a spot in Harlem. So I'm like, whoa, we're near this. We like see the train station. I'm like, hey, that's where the Gap is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, you want to go try it? I'm like, no, I don't really. Like, I don't at all want to do it. Like, I don't know. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, I'll look at it. Let's just look at it because I haven't looked at it. So let's see. Mm-hmm. So we go down there and we get to it and I'm just looking at it and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do it. Maybe today's the day.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I don't know, let me just like practice a little bit. So like I was scared to jump it. So what I did was it's the middle track. So a train comes periodically a train will come and just stop there in the station, open both sides of the doors. So what I would do is walk through the train, count how many steps it took to get through the train to the other side. And then I would do that and then I would be like, okay, 18 steps, 20, whatever, how many steps it was. And then I'm like, I'll do that on the platform. I'll do that, and then I'll mark it, and we had them film slow-mo to see if I got over that. Like, I would run, see if I made it over the little thing I marked up. And then I'm like, okay. So I just kept running up to it. I'm scared, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Then another train would come, and I'm like, okay, now I have to wait another 10, 20 minutes. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this because this is just going to keep getting annoying. So I finally jumped it after a while. And I'm just like, okay, that wasn't bad. I jumped it. And when I landed, I jumped off my scooter and it went in the tracks on the other side. Yeah. And it got like all this train goop and stuff on the grips. And I'm just like, oh, this is disgusting. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I run back over. It's funny. There's a police station in that station. Like in 145, there's a police station. So like that was really risky. And they were there too. They were right up the steps.
They were there?
They were like right up the steps and they didn't.
How did they not hear you?
I have no idea. Like when I ran to go back up the steps to get back to the other side, I seen them and I'm like, okay. Yeah. So and then finally I'm running up to it again. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna heel whip. Running up to it. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I'm standing there, and then finally Rick gets in the tracks to take a picture of the heel whip. Yeah. And like it was like MTA workers. They came and they yelled like, hey, you can't do that, you can't do that. Yeah. And they were coming over, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have to do it now. So I just ran, and I'm just like, oh, whatever. And I just heel whipped it, and I landed it first try, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And we just got out of there because the cops and everything was there, so yeah, that's the story of that.
That's so funny, like, the choice would be a heel whip, not even a tail whip. Like, what? Why?
I don't know. I just like heel whips, and it was just like it seemed like a tail whip would be too cliche. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do a tail whip. Yeah. I'm gonna do a heel whip. I'm gonna do something that maybe everyone wouldn't think to want to do over it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Put that there too. one time in between like 2013 or 2014 while I was filming for my TSI video. We went to this one spot in Harlem, Amsterdam handrail on Amsterdam Ave. It's like next to it's on the side of a elementary school or some kind of school. And there's about like 8 of us. So I can remember George Weiss, Mario Bowers, I think Eric Deptula, and then a bunch of like Jersey guys were there also. And at the time I was riding a setup with a tilt legacy fork and these like really tall bars, and it had like a bunch of like headset spacers or just to make my bars a little taller. And I was trying to front board the handrail. It was like about 8 or 9 stairs, and it's kind of like a narrow run up. It also has a creeper rail that Logan did. Logan Fuller actually did whip lip on the handrail in his last attic video, and then he did 5.0 on the creeper rail or ice pick in his rear wheel promo. So but that was like way after I tried my trick. So I was trying front board, and my scooter just like, after I tried it, just kind of like fell apart. The Tilt Legacy top cap was like stripped.
Oh yeah.
I think it was actually the threads that went inside the fork or the top cap. So basically, the fork came off, and my bars and SES were still together, but they came off also.
Wow.
And while I was trying to fix that with my Allen key, some kid, he might have been like 10 years old, and there's just like a bunch of like crazy kids around there, and I think he had like an Axe, like cologne or just like body spray.
Yeah.
And like a lighter or something. And he was just like going so crazy, and it got really close to my face. He tried to like set a flame, and by that time everyone else kind of left. It was just me and 2 other friends, and we like didn't know what to do. It was like almost dark, and that was happening. And I think he tried it like once or twice, and we just kind of like ran out of the park, out of the school. And that same kid and it's like that group of kids was just like kind of chasing us down. And we were like kind of young, so we didn't really know what to do, but we kind of outran them. And I eventually put together my scooter. It took a while because it was stripped.
So did you try to, like, were you picking up all these scooter parts?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like running away at the same time?
Basically.
Yeah,
I had my deck and handlebars, and I think my friend had my fork.
Yeah.
We just had to like go a couple blocks away to like a safe spot.
Yeah.
Just put everything together and take the train home.
Was the kid like going around the park to everybody?
I don't know.
Like,
because when
crazy.
I first saw it, I was like trying to put together my scooter, so my head was down, and I just saw like a flame or something. It went really quick. I knew I just had to get out of there.
Yeah. I feel like your scooter probably fell apart because you said you had so many headset spacers on it.
Yeah. That time.
Your SES was probably like not even on your fork.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That time, like, my setup was just like really tall bars at the time.
Yeah. Is there anything about Oil City that you can think of? Or like,
Yeah.
did you ever work at Oil City?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like right after high school,
Yeah.
I was just like still scootering around, and I saw they had an opening for the scooter shop, so I applied and I got it really quick. And I also did lessons. I think I worked there for like almost 2 years, so almost 2 summers I did lessons, and it went pretty well. I just had like a couple kids, and all they wanted to do was just like ride around and maybe learn how to bunny hop, so it was easy for me.
So just like daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually like I had 2 kids that actually like had injuries just because like they just wanted to go so fast around the park. So this one girl, she had like an A model and was trying to drop in on like, it was just like a kicker, but not even like a quarter, like a 2 foot tall kicker basically. And I think she just like fell. It wasn't really a hard face plant, but her tooth was like a little loose, so I felt so bad.
Wow.
And another time, this one boy, really young, he like the ramps there are like kind of sketchy. So I think he like ran into a ramp, and it was like a quarter, and then right next to it, like half an A-frame, so like a kicker to wall. So since the quarter, well, the kickers came out a little bit, so I think he like cut under his chin on like the side of the kicker, because he was going so fast right into it, and just like fell. And he was bleeding a lot. He had to get like a bunch of stitches.
Yeah.
So I was like over teaching lessons after that.
What did the parents do? Were they bummed or?
For the girl, the mom was bummed. She just like took her to the orthodontist or the dentist.
Yeah.
And then the boy's dad, he was really cool, but that his dad was like really laid back when that happened. His dad like freaked out, called it 911, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that kid actually came back for like 1 or 2 more lessons.
Oh, okay.
Because he just liked my company.
Huh. So what else besides the scooter lessons did you do? Did you kind of like, because they had scooter parts, like it was a whole shop, right? So did you sort of choose like what parts to buy or like anything like that?
Yeah, they had like, since like the scooter scene was growing so much there, they actually had its own scooter shop.
Yeah.
And the skate shop would just be in the lobby. So we had a separate room for all the scooter parts. So when the boss, Rich, he would come to us for to see like what he should buy for the inventory. So we'd always tell him like the street parts, like, well, not even street brand, just like everything that was quality. And also like just like completes that would sell, like Dominator completes. Those were like probably the cheapest, or Lucky.
Yeah.
And we'd have like, if we could, when we did, we'd have like TSI decks when those were in stock, a lot of proto parts, tilt headsets, all tilt parts, like tilt grips were really popular back then, and they still are.
Yeah. Did Greg ever work there? Do you know?
I don't know. I know Logan did for a while. Like he worked at the front desk, and it was just like
Logan Fuller?
Yeah. When he lived in New York.
When did he live in New York?
I think like 2012.
What? Who did he live with? How did that?
I think him and Greg, like when they lived together.
Oh,
you remember that? They used to make that
Palooza
edit.
Yeah.
Like around that time.
Okay.
And that was like right when like Logan was getting on Attic. So when Oil would get Attics, I heard he would just like grab some. It was so hard to get Attics back then.
Yeah.
And then a lot of like Long Island guys worked there. So whenever you'd go there, there was always somebody you knew would work at Oil City. And it recently just closed, like I would say 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, what was the reason for that closing?
The landlord just like wanted to close it down and make something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I heard it might be like a Costco now.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it's probably going to generate a lot more money than a skate park, so.
Yeah.
Can you think of any other New York stories?
I don't know. Should I talk about me pushing around? Like, pushing from my house to the city?
You've done that before?
Yeah, you saw that picture on my Tumblr one time? I said, I was like, I put a picture of my scooter and I was like, just rode like 30 miles.
Damn.
And you were like, I forgot what you said, but you like gave me props or something. You were like, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Cause like, I don't know, I just like wanted to look for spots, so I looked at my map from Valley Stream, Long Island, basically the border of like Queens and Long Island, to LES. That was the first time I did it. So I think I left my house at like 6 or 7 p.m. and got to LES at like 9:30 p.m.
That's it?
Yeah. I took like the back streets or something. Like Queens is rough. The ground there is so bad.
Yeah.
And I got to LES and just like rode.
Wow.
And took the train back.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad. Just had to have a lot of water.
Yeah.
And then this other time, it wasn't even planned, but I just rode to the city again. But this time the first time I took the Williamsburg Bridge, but this other time I took the Queensboro, so it's by Astoria, like Long Island City area, and it would take you to Midtown. And I did that. I just took my time. It wasn't like a race or anything.
Yeah.
So I was just cruising. I passed Maloof, went through Astoria, and then went over the Queensboro Bridge to Midtown. I met some friends in Washington Square Park. So that was going towards Lower Manhattan, and I was just like, let me just ride home for fun. And then I basically took that same route I took the first time when I went to the city, back over the Williamsburg Bridge. And one way is like 18 miles, so basically I did like 32 miles that day, or a little more.
Damn.
And I think the next day I felt fine, because I was taking my time, and I did some stretching.
Wow. So would you, I know I've talked to some people about this, like scooter riders that I think are like kind of in shape, but like would you ever be interested in, like, I guess just like a pushing trip, like imagine like pushing across a state or something?
Yeah, I'd be interested into it.
I know like skateboarders have done it, but
you'd see like post of like online longboarders doing across the country for like cancer or something.
Yeah, for
stuff
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
But on a scooter, no one's ever really done that.
No,
it'd be cool.
Would you? What kind of scooter would you ride? Would you ride your normal scooter, do you think? I've always thought about that too.
Yeah.
It's like, would I ride like 40 tall or like...
Have a dirt scooter? No.
Dirt scooters are slow though.
Yeah, that's true. I would try to use my scooter.
Yeah.
I think like a couple years ago, Greg sent out a text and it was like, hey, who wants to ride from like New York to Chicago for the jam? We're gonna have some like river sponsor it, and like no one was down. We just have like a couple extra pairs of wheels and we'll be good.
Yeah. Well, because I know like, didn't Greg used to do those like races or whatever? I think there were like races for like bicycles, longboards, and everything, and they had scooters.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
We did one like 2014. It was called the Alley Cat race.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was that, but yeah, like Alley Cat is a really,
he's
really
done,
common bicycle race.
He's done similar stuff to that, but I went to that Alley Cat race in 2014.
Yeah.
And it also included bikes.
Yeah, yeah.
But Greg got first on the scooter side.
How many people showed up on scooters?
Like less than 10.
I mean, even that, I would expect like 2 people to show up, like you and Greg only. Like who else was there?
George Weiss from Long Island. Jaycott was there, and like a bunch of other like Scoot York guys. But I think they just Greg and all of us took off, and I think they just did their own thing and met us at the end.
Damn, that's crazy.
But yeah, they had like 4 checkpoints.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fun. I never done anything like that before.
Those alley cats on bicycles are insane.
Yeah.
Like people just go so against traffic, like no stopping at any time.
That was crazy. I got major cotton mouth in between that. I think Tom Mattingly might have been there too.
What? Damn, that's so random.
And Greg won for the first place. He got like a bunch of stuff, including like this limited edition district deck. It was like pink. It said breast cancer awareness on it.
Huh? How did they, did District make it for that race?
Yeah, I think so, because they sponsored it. It was like District sent some stuff. I think Addict too.
Wow.
It was like really random, like Eagle, like just those 3. I think.
No, that's so random that they custom painted a deck for that Alley Cat race where less than 10 people showed up.
Greg definitely still has it. He held on to it.
Damn,
didn't ride it at all.
That's sick. Huh. Well, I guess, I mean, I know Greg has done some really long rides too.
Yeah.
Like around here. I know he was always about it.
That definitely like motivated me. Him and Logan would just push for miles from spot to spot. Never take the subway.
Damn.
Always save that 250 for like like Arizona or something.
2 Arizonas.
Yeah, 275 or something. Nothing from Sanchez yet. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do you think of anything else you want to talk about, or?
I think I covered most of the topics.
Yeah.
Does that have to be just New York stuff?
Huh.
Huh.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
I can talk about SD9. That was like one of my first TSI trips.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I flew to San Diego, I think, at the end of 2014. So my TSI part just dropped. So my name was out there. I hit up Zach Martin, and he was kind enough to let me stay at his house. And I think we spent New Year's at Logan Crawford's. He was on F Freestyle Depot.
Yeah, the guy who rode like really high bars,
Yeah.
right? Does he still scooter?
I think so. Yeah, I've seen like Insta clips pop up.
Sick. Yeah.
So I was there for New Year's, and after that, I think that was when SD was in January.
Yeah.
So the TSI guys came down, and we made that video. Like Road to SD9.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like one of my first TSI trips, and they stayed at like what hotel did they usually stay at?
Best Western.
Yeah.
Best Western
'Cause
in
they had that-
Claremont.
Yeah. Because they made that TSI shirt with like the Best Western like. It said,
Oh yeah.
It like
Heard
looked like
about
Best Western,
those.
but it just said TSI scooters on it.
Yeah.
So I stayed there a couple of nights with them after staying with Zach.
Mhm.
And John Fox, Deuces from New York, was actually in California around that time.
Who is that?
You know, he's called like number 2.
Oh, number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
John Fox.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was his last name.
Yeah, I think that's pretty sure that's his name.
Wait, I thought it was. Oh wait, no, wait.
They call him Deuces. I don't know.
Oh no, number 3 is John Zagara.
Yeah.
Okay,
John
yeah,
Race.
yeah.
John Race is number 1. John. There's 3 Johns.
I don't know if I ever. That like name doesn't sound familiar. I probably met him though, right?
Yeah, definitely. Were you at SD9?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So this one night at the Best Western, we were all there. John Fox, his girlfriend, was there also, and I think Chetty, he brought acid, and Greg, Chetty, Travis, Jaycott took it, and I was still, and then they took it and they left the hotel,
Yeah.
like wandered off, and I was just in the hotel with like Logan, Olivia, some other guys. I think Stan was even there.
Wow. Yeah.
He was like, cause like at that hotel it was like, not just one room, but like a lot of people like stayed there, a lot of scooter riders. So
Yeah.
Stan was also like roaming around,
Yeah.
and I heard like everyone that took acid were just like went so far, like they went on an adventure, and they were actually just in the parking lot, just like riding their scooters like in circles or something.
So.
And then, but then I went outside to go find them. They were right there, and then somebody wanted to go push to the ocean. It wasn't that far, like to the beach.
Yeah.
It was like maybe like 5 miles or like something less. It was mostly downhill, so it was easy. So we did that, and everyone else was on acid. I went just for the ride, and it was crazy. Like the street that we took to go to the ocean turned into like a highway, like just like a tiny highway, like nothing crazy. But we had to ride on the side.
Damn.
And actually, like it was like so fast, and it was at night also.
Yeah.
They took it at night, so I almost like I crashed, but I went right into like gravel or dirt, so I didn't like get any like gashes or anything. I just got some like dirt marks and some scrapes.
What did you do? Like hit a rock or something?
It was like this like curve, this big curve in the road, and I was just going so fast, I just like could not turn.
Wow.
It was just like kind of scary. It was so dark too.
Yeah.
And I just like knew I was gonna fall, so I just like went with it. And just like went to the grass.
Yeah.
But I like slid for a while, but it wasn't that bad. I just my clothes were dirty.
Damn.
And we got to the beach, and I think Greg was ahead of everyone. And when he saw me coming down, because I was like, it took a while for me to get to where he was. He was like, "What happened?" And
that must have been crazy for all those people on acid. They're
Yeah.
on like a busy road.
they'll never forget that night. But it was nice going to the beach after that.
Yeah.
Well, we just like stuck our feet in the sand.
Yeah. Have you ever done the hill bomb by Andrew's parents' house?
Where did they live?
Vista.
No.
Oh, so there was like, it's this really gnarly hill bomb, and it was like, every time anybody was in town, we'd all go do it.
Yeah.
And at the very bottom, there's a fork in the road,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to go right. If you go left, it's fine. But like it reminded me like you falling, because one time
Yeah.
a bunch of us were bombing it, and I'm pretty sure it was either Greg or Brian Murphy. It was one of those guys. I forget who, but instead of taking the left or right fork, they just went straight.
Oh,
Like,
man.
because I don't know, I think they couldn't slow down in time because it was like the first time they bombed it, and
Yeah.
they just like didn't know. And you basically like go off this small little cliff, like I don't know, like an 8-foot cliff or something. It's into somebody's front yard, and in their front yard was a cactus.
Oh my.
Like a big one, like as big as a person. And it was either Greg or Brian Murphy like smashed into the cactus.
I think I've heard of this. But
Yeah. And then they had to like
Some
get
cactus.
the needles out. It was so bad.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Oh. I could talk about a trip to Chicago, like 2015.
For the jam.
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
Chicago
yeah.
Street Jam. Billy Sadolsky took his mom's van
Mm.
and drove to Eric's, Deptula's house in Brooklyn, and me, Ben Kowalski, Mario Bowers, I think Jesse Walsh, Ernie Young, Eric Deptula also, I think I mentioned him.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that was everyone in the van.
Mm.
We drove to Chicago straight, and that was all good and well. On the way back though, it just like the van broke down in Lock Haven, like really close to Lock Haven.
Yeah.
I think
that's Connecticut, right? Or
PA.
oh, PA.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was near
okay.
Logan.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But yeah, on the way back, I think like someone, I don't know who was responsible, but we did like the oil was so low, or something was wrong with the engine. So we just broke down, and Billy just basically took off the license plate, and I don't know what happened to the van. We just like left it.
You just left the van?
Like not actually, like we talked to people, but Billy did most of the talking because it was his mom's van.
Yeah.
But what I can remember, we all chipped in for something, like maybe for them to take it away.
Yeah.
And Billy just took off the license plate. We were in Lock Haven. We actually met up with Logan for an hour or two. And Ben Kowalski's dad from Connecticut, from Milford, Connecticut, drove to Lock Haven, Pennsylvania to pick us up.
Damn. All of you guys?
Oh, I think Jesse Walsh wasn't with us coming back, but it was still like a bunch of us.
So did he have another van?
Yeah.
Or something?
Ben's dad had a van.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we felt so bad for him having to come all the way to PA to get us.
Yeah.
And when he showed up, he was like, "Hey guys, you want to get some food?"
Damn.
Yeah, he's the best.
Ben Kowalski's dad.
Yeah.
Does his dad look like him?
Not really.
Damn.
His dad kind of looks like a. This is not accurate, but I would say like, you know, the guy from Toy Story 2 who plays with like the toys, who had the collection.
No.
Oh, he looked like that guy with like the cheese doodles. Kind of reminds me of him. It's kind of funny.
Damn.
So since that trip, a lot of people don't want to drive to Chicago, like from that group, but I have with the Speak Guys last year. It was fine. Just have to check that oil.
Yeah, you have to have a reliable car.
Yeah.
That's a very far trip.
Yeah.
doesn't have to be these like really specific topics. But I was just wondering if you could think of any like school York stories or like New York stories from back in the day. Just funny stuff, just crazy stuff. I don't know. Because I know like so much stuff happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we used to get chased a lot. We used to get chased by hobos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to like after a session we go to Madison Square Garden, go grab a drink or a donut from Krispy Kreme, and then there would just be a whole bunch of hobos there and just like looking at us because we're like a squad of scooter riders. They're just like, what is that? and then one time this one lady was like just talking to herself and saying that there were spirits touching her at night, like in her sleep in a certain like location. So she like got up and moved, and then she was like saying like not to dance for a certain reason. She was like, don't dance. My son was a dancer. Don't dance.
Yeah.
And I yell at him. So I started doing a dance. This one woman just like starts chasing after me. She's like, what did I say about dancing? No dancing! And then like we were young at the time, so we just like ran away. We weren't gonna like start arguing over that. We just like left. But yeah, it's a lot of random hobo stories back then. Just like jumping over them or like running into them. They're either drunk. But let me see, any other funny stories?
I was trying to hit up Elmer to do this podcast, and I like just could not get a hold of him. Like I tried every way. So
Instagram, Facebook, calling?
I tried Instagram and calling.
And no answer.
I tried calling like multiple phone numbers from multiple people, but can you think of any Elmer stories? Since
oh
like
my God,
I'm
Elmer?
like pretty sure I'm just not gonna like meet up with him, you know.
No, I mean if I call him, he'll answer.
Really?
Yeah, I could probably call him right now. He'll probably answer. I'm gonna try.
All right.
Let's see if he answers. Yeah, cause I don't know. We used to get into some crazy shit, but it was really in the city. Not really in Queens or anywhere else. It'd always be in the city where shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna answer. Is he? No answer, Brody. Alright, he's not answering. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
No answer. But funny Elmer stories. I don't know. Every story of Elmer is funny.
I know a lot, but I'm sure you know more.
Starting to like get lost in the vault somewhere. I don't know, it's just the way like he reacts to other people in the street of like riding scooters. He would just react pretty funny. The way he reacts if he doesn't land a trick is pretty funny too. Just in general, Elmer's a funny guy. But I can't really pinpoint any like Elmer stories.
Yeah.
If I could, I would. Huh.
But you were talking earlier about sort of like what happened with injuring your finger and stuff like that, and I had no idea about that. So was that? I guess you could just like talk about what happened in scootering for you after Catalyst. Like, what did you break your finger shortly after that, or like what was the feeling after Catalyst? It was like, okay, I did this, and now what happens, you know?
Right. So after Catalyst, I was still into riding and all, but I was like 18 or 19, and I had to like go to school, so I couldn't have as much time for that anymore. But I went to school in the city, and I always just rode around on my scooter solo, just riding around. But then I saw like a whole bunch of groups riding longboards, racing in the streets, and I was just like, well, I can get down with that. I can do that too. So that was kind of like the separation, like me going to school in the city and then picking up a longboard somehow. And me picking up that longboard brought me to a race, which was called Stokeham Downhill Race in Englewood Cliffs in New Jersey. It was my first race. I make it to the finals. I make it all the way to the finals, and then the last turn I fall. I punch a curb going like 45 miles an hour, break my pinky, and get back up and get second place because everyone behind me else fell too, and we're all just
really?
like crash drunk. We're all just like trying to get up, and we're all just trying to move around and finish the race. And I got second place, so that's pretty good for a first time. But after that really messed up my scootering and all, just like the whole flow of that, because I couldn't hold on to a handlebar. I couldn't ride a scooter. I couldn't lift on my scooter. I couldn't grip with my hands. So it was kind of sad.
And how long do you think that went on for?
Like the injury and how did you like recovering from that?
Yeah.
I'd say it was like almost 2 years to fully recover from that injury, because like it broke right on the knuckle, so it's like very sensitive area for me at least, and I just couldn't ride. And but I wish I could, man. Freak.
Did you feel like a big void? You know what I mean? Since scootering had just been kind of like taken away from you, or did you focus more on longboarding?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I just like jumped into the next sport where I didn't need my hand as much, so longboarding was that thing. But I wish I could have stayed with scootering. I mean, but with all the injuries I keep getting, I just like slowly just pushed it to the side and just went to longboards. But I don't know. I'm back here. I'm back now. I'm back.
Were you happy with your Catalyst part, do you think?
Yeah, it was a very short and quick part. I definitely feel like I could have had like another 30 seconds of something going on, but I think it was like straight to the point of like who I am as a rider, what my style was, and like what I like to do. So I was very excited about it, but I feel like it could have been a little bit longer. A little bit longer. But yeah. That was a fun part.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's so many things like when we were filming for Catalyst, because I used to come here a lot, like when we were filming for Catalyst, because everybody on Proto lived in New York.
Right.
Can you still do chairmans like super good?
Oh yeah. That's like my go-to in the street late at night, like trying to impress everybody in the street. If I want to turn heads, that's the trick I go for. Like just do a chairman for like 5 blocks, and drunk people are just like, whoa, oh my god, like I can't understand what's going on. How do you ride a scooter on your handlebar?
Yeah. Well, even scooter riders, I think it seems pretty crazy, because people can do them, but not like super fast and like in between traffic, and like just the streets are so bad here, like just doing them in that.
Yeah.
Have you like what's the fastest you think you've ever gone? Like do you
chairman?
You like bomb?
I bombed a hill in Queens.
Yeah.
That was, I think, maybe like 20 miles an hour.
That's insane.
Maybe a little more. It was to the point where I couldn't stop. Like if I try stopping, I would get like, you know, when you like jam your ankle from like stopping forward, and like your ankle just hurts from like stopping.
Yeah.
Like it would just be like that, or I'd fall forward into like oncoming traffic. So it was just like hold on for dear life and hopefully you make it through. Yeah, no, that was one of my favorite tricks to do. Chairman.
So what does your life consist of nowadays? Like are you still super into longboarding, or is it like, I mean, I know you're into like biking a lot now too. Like what?
Yeah, to be honest, I actually don't longboard anymore.
Oh really?
I hardly even longboard anymore. So that was fun for a little bit, but then like I guess the hype and the excitement kind of like left. There was like this one company that was just kind of dropping all their riders off, like all their route riders that helped get their name out. And after they were dropping a lot of their route riders, I was just like, well, I guess I'm one of the ones gonna be next. And I was the one to be next, I guess. They was just like, oh yeah, we don't really have the budget for you anymore, and this and that. But we can give you we'll give you skateboards whenever you want. I was like, all right, no doubt. I guess that's a bye.
Yeah.
And like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, there's like 2 new international riders for that board company. So it was like a lot, kind of like a smack in the face. Like,
Yeah.
you could just tell me you're focusing on like international riders.
Uh-huh. So you think it was just bigger internationally than in America, or?
The company itself was pushing that envelope where they
Okay.
wanted to be more like world renowned,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the scene like that. But
Mm.
nowadays, I just ride my bike pretty much every day. I'm a
Mm.
bike messenger in the city, so I
Okay.
work 4 to 5 days a week, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
on the weekends, I'll either take photos or ride my scooter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Who do you normally ride with now that you're like scootering?
Nowadays, I still hit up John Reyes, just like
Mhm.
you know, he's been a buddy for a while, and
Yeah.
but I would just go out by myself, like just ride by myself, and I know where people are gonna be.
Mm.
Like I know people are gonna be at McCarran, I know people are gonna be at Cooper, I know people are gonna be at Maloof.
Yeah, yeah.
But nowadays it's just like, you know, like all the younger riders, they're all out here, they're all having fun, trying to get their feet wet with the whole scootering and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's good to be there and like help them out, because they're always just being like, yo, how do you jump so high, or how do you do this trick, how do you do that trick?
Mhm.
So I find it pretty cool to like give them advice,
Yeah, yeah.
because like you remember the times where no one really gave advice, like you just had to like wing it yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like the only advice your homie would give you is like how to bolt your scooter,
Yeah.
maybe to tail whip, but it wasn't like that older brother figure, like coach kind of feel.
Hmm. Do you think that any of the kids like recognize you from your old videos, or?
No, like
Yeah.
half of them don't even know who I am.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and that's the funny part. So it's like they don't know who I am, but then like they're like, wait, how long have you been riding? I'm like, I don't know, almost 9 years, 10 years. You know,
Yeah.
I've been on this for so long. They're like, wait, what? Like, who'd you ride for? Did you ride for someone? Do you do this? Do you do that? Ask her the 5 million questions. Like, what scooter do you have? How tall are your bars?
Can you bri flip?
Can you bri flip?
Can you flare?
Right? I'm just like, I used to ride for Proto back in the day, but you know, I just tell them like how I got injured, and that kind of like
Mm.
pushed me off the team, and I kind of like lost the motivation to keep going.
Mm.
I remember Andrew was like, hey brother, like I see you're not really riding as much, like we can't keep you on our pro team, but you're more than, like you're always family to us, so
Mm.
that was always something cool to look at, you know?
Yeah, Andrew's always been like that. It's like if someone's ever been on Proto, like they could hit him up years later and like, hey, can I get a deck or something? He's like, yeah, sure. Like
Right.
I hit him up years later when like the new deck they have now was out, and I was like, can I get one? He was like, yeah, sure. What's your address? Like
Right,
like
right.
no problem.
Immediately, he did the same with me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was kind of slacking because like I knew that new scooter came out like months ago, and I was just like, hey dude, I want to get back into riding, can I get a scooter?
Mhm.
And then every time he was like, oh, just send me your address or whatnot, and I'd just be too like clueless. I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna go ride my bike and just not get to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it was like just last year he gave me like a whole new complete pretty much.
That's sick.
Yeah, new bars, new scooter, new deck, new wheels, everything, and it was a lot of fun. I do like that scooter. It's just a little too heavy for me.
Yeah, yeah.
A little too heavy.
Yeah, definitely. So do you think that, like, who, as far as scootering goes right now, like, what videos are you into, or like, what are you watching? Like, who are the people that you're into?
So the names always get me. I don't know many names.
Yeah.
But with the style of riding and what I would like to watch is like, I kind of like watching all of it. I like seeing like the trick flippers that'll do like a million combination tricks out the ramps, or
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying, just like a one hit jump. But what I really like, what I really enjoy is just like a lot of technical rail grinding.
Oh, okay.
Like
Huh.
very technical street rail grinding. It
Yeah,
doesn't have
yeah.
to be like the tallest rail or whatnot, but it could be a really cool combination grind.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted, because I know you, like, your riding when you rode skate parks like bowls and stuff like that, it was like very like high airs and like not necessarily like quad whips and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Just blasting hips and stuff like that. And think that's still a void in scooter riding. Like, there's not like bowl riders and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Have you ever wanted to see that, or have you seen it before?
I mean, some of the Cali cats definitely rip the pools and rip the bowls for sure, but they're not like dedicated bowl riders. I mean, Tommy Christiana, he's insane on the pools. Cooper Clark is just like backlipping everything in sight. Every pocket he could find, and Nick T, he's an animal too. But I would rather see like a whole edit just pools. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I forgot about Cooper. Cooper is probably like the #1 bull rider because he made those. Him and Logan made a couple of videos, and there was like really long videos of only bull riding, like in different skate parks everywhere. And those are pretty sick. But with the biking, I mean, obviously you're like a bike messenger for a job, but do you do any like bike racing?
No. Well, I don't do any fixed gear racing, but I have done BMX racing.
Oh, BMX racing?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
So it's very similar how it's like an alley cat outlaw race that's on the street, no sanction. But since you're on a BMX, you're not going as fast. And I have a brake, so I can like hit the brake whenever I need to stop. But I don't really race on the fixed gear. No, I think it's not my thing.
Well, because don't you have a geared bike too? Like
I had a geared bike.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Huh. What? Have you ever had like? I mean, I'm sure you've had like really close calls as a bike messenger here.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day there's a close call.
Yeah.
Every day. Every single day.
So how does being a bike messenger work? Like, who do you go through? Like, how does that?
That was a tough one. That was a really tough one because a lot of the companies that you want to work for, you have to know someone that works there.
Yeah.
You have to have your experience just like any other job. So a lot of us started with application jobs like Uber and Postmates, Caviar, all these food application jobs.
Oh, riding your bikes, doing that?
Right. So I did that for like a year or two, and it happened to be that my friend was leaving his position at a courier company, and I was just like, hey, like, can I get that spot? Like, it's a really good company. He was like, yeah, dude, take my spot. You want my spot? All right, take it, man. Take it.
Yeah.
So that like put me right into the door where I was like making some really good money on it, and but there's just like so many different like private companies that it's just like you will never get into. Never.
Yeah.
Unless you know someone, which is just like, it's really tough, man. It's really tough. Really, really tough. But that's why we all start on like application jobs.
Yeah.
Just because it's like easier. They're like, yes, you want to work, ahead, work.
Yeah.
We don't know you, but it's okay, work.
Yeah. And so you do that all throughout the winter too?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to branch off and do like more photography, see how I can make that into a profession too, because I always had the passion for that.
Yeah.
And you definitely inspired that back in the day with your photos and your portfolios you would put online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's
just
cool.
like the crazy obscure kind of like cities and different views. Like, I don't know, like the light streaks you would have, just the photography in general was a really good inspiration for growing up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you live in probably one of the best cities in the world to try to get photo jobs, so.
Right. Definitely. One of the best. One of the toughest, though, because again, they don't know you.
Yeah.
They don't want you.
Yeah.
It's like, we can go for you, or we can go for, trusty old Larry. Larry's always there. We know Larry.
Yeah.
Larry brings us all the party favors.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on. Can you think of any more schoolyard stories?
Screw York stories.
Greg, John,
I mean,
Ramel.
besides how that we were just like the few getting together and riding together. That was probably just the best part. It's like not really like a funny story. It's just like the camaraderie and like how close we were back then, where we'd always ride no matter what. We'd always hit each other up. Always look for getting videos and photos and just riding back and forth. We'd ride from like Maloof to Bayside to Maloof, back and forth, hitting spots on the way, just hanging out.
Yeah.
And it was a good, really, really good crew back then for sure. It was definitely a solid crew because we all had different styles.
Yeah.
Like we all rode together, but we all had different styles. Like,
oh, totally.
Like Ramel was going big no matter what.
Yeah.
Like John was doing his technical riding as always. You know, like fucking Greg was always steezy. You know, like doing some crazy steez, manual trick grind to combination. Elmer just like lifting the freaking roof every 2 seconds. Elmer was really good. Elmer is really good. He should get back on it. If you're listening to that, get back on it, Elmer.
Did you see the new like Screw York Times montage? Did you see that video?
No, I don't think so.
J-Cot made it, and it had like the intro was all old Screw York footage, but it was like unreleased. It was like tapes that he got from John that he captured.
Nice.
It was like this super old like Ramel footage and Elmer footage and John and Greg. I'm trying to think. I don't think you were in it.
Yeah, there's probably some tapes in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tapes. So.
Yeah, definitely. Because John, like, was John the one filming at that time?
John was the main filmer back then, right.
And I don't think he ever captured any of those tapes. I'm pretty sure. And
only the important ones.
And like that's why J-Cot has them.
Right.
And it's like it's all this unseen Screw York footage.
Right. Just the important ones.
Yeah. But I mean, like Ramel supposedly front bride the Big Six at the Globe.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever seen that.
Right. Right. Because it wasn't important.
Yeah.
Some funny stuff.
Well, I don't know. We can be done whenever you want. Like, or we can. I'm just trying to.
It's your podcast.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
I'm just trying to think.
Talked about the past. Talked about the present. Talked about what scooter riders I like to watch, or what style at least.
Yeah. What about stuff on SR? Like what was SR to you, and like all those conversations, like not necessarily related to scootering, and like all the people you met from it, you know?
Right, and I thank Andrew for making SR. SR was like a scooter Bible for us back in the day. It was like the only way where we can all connect on the internet and talk about scooters, or even more than just scooters, photography, like hiking, whatever you wanted. I feel like it was really, really awesome. It was key for riders back then, because we all felt like we were alone. We all felt like we didn't have anyone else, you know? We thought but it was dude, it was a lot of fun, man. Meeting a lot of cool people through that website. It like I said, it just connected everyone from the world. Like I met Mattis Kook from Estonia. You know, he stayed at my place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like it was just an internet person, but I trusted him to come over to my house. You know, so it was like the golden age of the scooter resource internet forums.
Yeah.
It just had like everything on there, everything, and I found it a lot of fun. Like after school, I'd always go on there, go on all the little chats, just like eat my popcorn and just see what's going on, or like or type something down. But like back then, I wasn't as experienced as I was now, so I was just like reading more than than doing.
Oh, than posting.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I was reading more, like what inner diameter bars you need, you know, like, because everyone was like trying to make their own bars, and everyone's like putting up different specs for what bars they use. So I was just looking at that and seeing like what bars fit with this, what bars fit with that, how to bolt a scooter, and then Mr. Alex Stedman coming out with like deck reinforcements. It was just a really good community on the internet. It's so sad it died.
And what do you think that replaced it? Do you think there is a replacement?
I don't think there's a replacement yet. No. There is other outlets to find media and content and conversation, but it's different. It's totally different.
Like, it's not as personal, right?
Right. Right. Or it's like, it's too personal now. Because back then, you can have a different screen name being like, Scooter Kid 7-Eleven, you know? No one knew who you were until you said who you were. So I like that anonymous kind of feel. But there isn't a website that creates a community like that anymore. And I think it's very necessary, especially for the young kids where they don't know all the answers. They can just go there and find the answers they're looking for.
I mean, the answers are just kind of like fragmented, and you can't really like find them now. You know what I mean?
Well, right, because like, how are you gonna find? Well, it's just a different age now. It's like they don't need to worry about bolting scooters. They don't need to worry about reinforcing forks, making your own drilled bars. They don't need to do any of that. Everything comes pre-made and ready to shred. You know. So I don't know what the comments or like what the conversations would be. Maybe just like learning new tricks, showing off the new tricks. That was always a good thread to be on.
Just like videos.
Video thread, photo thread,
scooters.
New trick thread, just general scooters.
But there was a lot of like, there was so much stuff that wasn't related to scootering.
Oh, I know. They had a lot of just like. So much gossip threads, like ex-girlfriend threads, or like girl I hooked up with threads, or like drug threads. It was weird. It was just like the wild west for like scooter riders out there. I don't know where you're talking about like peyote and DMT. The next thread you're talking about like your girlfriend, how she cheated on you with your best friend who also rides a scooter. So, barbecue sauce. Talk about like a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Like, SR was a good time. It was. Because I guess like you could still have that connection between people, but there aren't the threads to talk shit and troll. Like, and that goes in like being anonymous. You can troll the hell out of people when no one knows who you are. But on Instagram, if you're trolling, people are gonna be like, "I'm mad. You're trolling me." You know. So remember, guys, if you're gonna troll anonymous.
All right, I'm back in Ohio now. The trip to New York went pretty well, recording this podcast and also, of course, just scooter riding. Unfortunately, we never found Elmer. I called multiple phone numbers and messaged him and stuff, and I never got a response. And also, other people tried to contact him too, so I'm really not sure what's going on with him. But luckily, we got another OG rider of the same era, and also someone who is still scootering today. Steven Sanchez was great to have on the show, and great to just see a lot of good memories. So as always, thanks to Ben Bursell for the graphic design and music for this podcast. For any questions or suggestions, email thetandempod@gmail.com, and let me know what you think about this episode. I mean, it was a really big experiment for me. I've never really done a lot of audio only recording in the field, so I mean, I'm pleased with how it turned out, it's very different from what I've normally done with this podcast. But if I get good feedback from it, maybe I will start doing similar things in the future, because I'm always going on scooter trips, so I have access to all these people, and it's really not hard to bring along an audio recorder and talk to them for 20 minutes. So it may be a frequent thing in the future. So be sure to look out for the next episode on the last Friday of next month. Thanks.